Hey guys, Thomas here, and this is the Eastside 2020/21 season finale. I messed that up. Let's go again. Ready? Hey guys, Thomas here, and this is the final for the Eastside FPV 2020/21 season.
Okay, so what I'll do is get you to give us a quick summary on what this race meet was all about.
Okay, so this was the final race for the 2020/21 season for Eastside FPV. Some of the special parts of this were, one, we were coming straight out of lockdown, so everyone was going to be rusty. That meant that, there's probably going to be a lot of position changes, a lot of trying to get comfortable in the sticks again. And another big one, we just had the official release of the BMS Raptor V2s like the week before, and so I really wanted to get my first win on these.
Okay, do you want to go over the track and what was kind of unique about this track?
Yeah, so this track was designed by BizFPV, and his goal when he made it was to use every single element Eastside had to offer. And what that meant was we ended up with a really big track. For practice, I actually started off in Velocidrone, just to try and learn as much of it as I can. In Eastside FPV, we only get 2 practice runs, so you really got to utilize your time well. Really, in the real practices, it was more focusing on efficiency and just sort of trying to get as much as you can in within the allotted time.
Arm your quads.
Okay, so what we'll do is jump straight to race 2, and we'll get you to give us a bit of a commentary on that. So your start looks pretty good there.
Yeah, my goal was with the start to utilize the top speed that we had to really get away from everyone and then sort of settle in around the first corner. Heapsy FPV and Godzilla are actually a lot better at me through the first corner. They tend to catch me there and sometimes overtake me. But this one here was a pretty cruisy run, really just trying to be smooth. It's one of those tracks, being so big, if you end up having the quad move beyond where your brain is, you will get lost very quickly. And you sort of don't really want to end up in a position where you get DQ'd for, missing a gate or something. So, in general, it was sort of a 8/10 style flying, really where you can think while you're going and just trying to refine lines where you can. It was almost like taking the safe line and just refining the hell out of it.
Roadblock lap 1 and 3rd.
So there you go, and you're about to go through the finish and done.
Yeah.
So that's race 2 done and dusted. Okay, so this is race 3.
And at this point, having done the 2 races and started to get kind of confident, it was sort of time to really play with the track. This is the kind of thing you'd be wanting to do in practice, but since we only get 2 practice runs at Eastside and the track is quite a big track, it was sort of a real balance of trying to work out where you can push and where you can't. So once again, sticking to that idea of a sort of 8/10 flying strategy, so trying to cut everything but still be in a stage where you can think really well. And I get a real flyer of a first lap. Not my best lap of the day so far, but it was still a really good opener. And at this point, I'm going out to see if I can drop the time even more. I know that from the previous runs, Heapsy is cutting down his times little by little, so I definitely don't want to let the momentum stop and trying to fly through here, cut every little bit, and I cut too far.
Dirty lap 1 in 2nd.
So in this stage, I believe a prop was bent or something.
I think it was making some sort of noise. You wanted to just get her back home safely, just land it carefully, make sure it was all right. And it did actually, it was all right, wasn't it?
It was fine, yeah. There was actually a really good run. I'm not sure if we got that video where there was a prop really gone and we were able to race with it.
It'll clear up. Okay, pilots ready.
Arm your quads. Starting on the tone in less than 5.
Okay, so this is race 4, and you've got Sam in this one. He's going to give you a bit of a run.
Yeah, so we know he's probably going to get me in the first hairpin. I try to make use of the straight line, but he does pull me in there. And at this point, I really want to settle in as quickly as possible. You can see we're neck and neck here. We both have a very similar idea of trying to really send it at the start, but still have somewhat of a comfort zone kind of thing. And at this point, I'm just trying to refine. I think I start to settle in a bit quicker than him, and so I start to pull a bit of a gap. And then when we pull onto the main straight, my goal is to use as much of the straight line speed as possible. Having the R42s does give me a fair benefit in any kind of straight line section. I have a good, 20-30 k's an hour top speed more than anyone else. So makes it really good for those quick getaways, especially on a big track like this. And at this point, I know I've got a little bit of breathing room, so all I'm trying to do now is get a bit more refinement in, trying not to let my nerves get the better of me. I do get a bit nervous flying around Heapsy. He's a quick boy, so definitely puts the heat on.
There you go, race 4 done and dusted.
60
Yes.
seconds remaining.
Okay, so moving on to race 5, and this one went pretty smoothly.
It did. We got Godzilla with me, so you can see he's right with me at the start again.
He's also running the JS1, isn't he?
Running JS1.
So we
running
know he's got the
R42s.
same top sort of speed as you.
Yeah, it's a almost identical build to what I'm running at the moment. He does crash out there, which gives me a nice break, but you could see at the start he had me pretty well. Anyway, at this point, I'm just trying to settle in. I learnt a lot from that race against Heapsy. I know that his starts are really lethal. So, sort of playing with that first section, trying to really spend as little time stopping there. You can see that at that one, I still had a bit of a stop. Wasn't quite comfortable, but we still set a really good overall time. It's just really trying to refine everything. Just trying to build a break as quick as possible. The longer you spend in the pack, the more chance of like a mid-air collision, or even just your nerves getting the better of you. So if you can form a bit of a break, just that extra breathing room lets you settle in more and hopefully gets you in a rhythm.
Thomas finished in first.
All right.
Okay, so this is race 6, and this is the last race before the finals, and this one was quite eventful.
Yeah, I was feeling really good off of those 2 25-second laps from the last one, and I get a real flyer of a start at this one. And at this point, you probably want to watch the Mittens DVR. So at the moment, I'm doing really good. Mittens has a crash, and all of a sudden, his VTX goes bye-bye. It starts spraying on everyone's channel. I get a little bit of bad video, but I'm like, it's okay, I'm going to keep going. Still on, I'm like, you know what? One more lap, it'll be fine. And then coming around this back section, keep in mind where he's crashed is close to where I'm physically standing. So the footage starts to get a bit hairy even in the DVR from the live stream. And at this point here, I'm like, okay, it's not worth it. I'm putting it down. And you can see I've pretty much got an entire part of his quad. It's a good example of, I guess, when things go wrong, where, you know, it's pretty out of control. At this point, I'm hoping that if the video gets better, maybe I'll be able to take off and at least sneak in a final practice lap. But it is one of those things where it's sort of such as racing. Luckily at Eastside, we drop your worst run, so this round actually got removed from my overall score. But we still were able to get the last practice in.
60 seconds remaining.
Pilots ready. First round of the finals.
Arm your quads.
Okay, so
Starting
this
on the
is
tone
the
in less than
first
5.
final.
Time to put it all together. We are with the 6 fastest pilots at Eastside FPV on the day. Heapsy gets an absolute flyer of a start. We are basically neck and neck through the split S section. I am shaking. I am nervous. It's a hectic race. Heapsy is performing incredible. I think I'm doing really well. Godzilla's not too far behind. And at this point, we both make a mistake. We're both trying to get back together. We're both pushing to our very limits. The racing's really close at Eastside.
Heapsy was actually better off that one. You got back into it quicker, whereas you bounced back further.
I did bounce back further, but we're both settled in. Heapsy pulling off a 28-second lap. I'm about a second behind, but I know I just got to keep the pace on. You never know what's going to happen in this racing, especially when you're both pushing your limit. So at this point, just trying to recover whatever time I can. Maybe making a little bit of ground here, but, you know, Heapsy's really holding his own through this. Into the final power loop section, and he makes a mistake, and I'm able to take the lead. Very, very lucky for me. Heapsy really did have that one. Yeah, I stayed on it. It paid off in this case. Didn't pay off for Heapsy, but what a race.
Heapsy finished in second. Arm your quads. Starting on
Okay,
the
so this
tone
is
in less
the
than
last
5.
final.
Last finals, last race of the day, last race of the season. At this point, a lot more relaxed, so I got a really good start. Was actually able to stay ahead of Heapsy through the tunnel section, which was really nice. I think a big part of that was the fact that I was just less nervous. But at this point, too, I'm also starting to really battle fatigue. It's late in the day. I don't remember if we had lunch.
There was also some confusion too, because it actually hasn't scored your whole shot. Something that actually went wrong, and it's actually counting your first lap as your whole shot.
Yeah, so I was sort of...
So that sort of played in the mindset a little bit, didn't it?
Yeah, and so at this point, sort of trying to really slide back into race mode. Still flying pretty smooth, which I was really happy with. Time's a little bit down from what it should be, but still in the lead at the moment.
That time is probably not too bad, because that's counting that as your whole shot.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it still wasn't the pace of my normal flying. And around the back section here, I make another mistake. I'm pretty sure that was just fatigue at this point, just being late in the day. But thankfully, I did have enough of a gap to still sneak in first place.
BMS Thomas lap
So there you
1
go.
third.
That was the last
60
race
seconds
for the
remaining.
season.
Yeah, overall, really good fun. I did really enjoy the track. I would have loved to have spent more time on it. Oh, I was surprised. I thought it would be more mid-S.
Yeah, I thought the only thing I probably had an issue with, which was surprising, I think it only affected Heapsy, which was that start, was a really quick turn and straight into a gate.
Yeah, it probably actually played more into my advantage.
Yeah, I probably would have moved that first flag further away, and I think that would have sort of... But it wasn't an issue because it only affected one person, and that was the only one that I know of that actually had an
30
incident.
seconds
It's me, so
It helped you.
I'm not complaining anymore.
So yeah, but all in all, I think it was one of those tracks because it was so big, and you only get 2 packs to actually learn it, and you were only going to get anywhere from 2 to 3 laps max in for practice. It meant really focusing and knuckling down on learning those lines rather than just sending it, didn't it?
Yeah, you were much better off sort of flying 8/10 or 7/10 and really taking in the information while you were flying. That knowledge would really pay off towards, just cutting lap time safely.
So there you go, guys. That was a rundown on the last race of the season. Hopefully that information was useful, a little bit about the mindset. If you've got any questions or comments, pop them in down below and we'll do our best to answer them.
Have a good day and see you in the next one.